thoughts because yeah, let's get this out of the way, right? So Cocaine Bear's like solely based on this true story that a bear sniffed a bunch of cocaine and it was dropped in this forest by these like drug dealers who had all this cocaine or whatever in like in America. And so once all this cocaine was dropped down into that forest, it would then go on this rampage, and it's like Pablo Escobar and all this stuff. It's kind of interesting to see how the bear would do that stuff. And then then the movie does that, takes that concept and runs with it, and it's about an hour and a half to an hour and 40 minutes. So it doesn't really waste so much time. It gets straight to the point and does what it needs to do. There's also like these characters like there's like the kids, and then there's these there's like the drug lords, and there's like Ray Liotta's in the film. So you have all these kind of characters, and you see the perspective of the characters through the film, how they deal with the bear, and most of the time they deal with the bear in the same similar sense, right? Some of them live and some of them die. Some of them live and some of them die. Some of them live and some of them die. You get the point. So it just shows you like a simple like rotation of every character, what they're going through, how they are. And I remember hearing complaints about how the characters, like, they shouldn't have been as prominent as they should have been. It should have just been the bear. But I feel like if we just had the bear killing, no time to breathe, it wouldn't be as entertaining. Like, of course, we're going here for the bear, but we kind of need to mix it up a bit so we're not just giving you the same thing all the time. But so there's that. But I think the movie, right, the Cocaine Bear, it kind of surprised me how kind of much I enjoyed this film. Like, it's a simple concept and it's just so funny. It's just the jokes land right. There's like they just joke and they try and have fun with the film. Right, the film, like you just like in the current day of cinema, we need to have these giant blockbuster CGI. Everything needs to be a certain way. Everything needs to be formulaic as hell. Everything needs to be set under this one continuous formula. You need to make it this way, this way, this way. This movie just throws all of that out of the window and just tells you, hey, remember when films were just here to entertain and have a good time and not be, oh my god, there's 9 million plots in this movie. There's 5 protagonists. There's this dude you need to follow, and then there's this guy. And oh, by the way, here's the meaning of life. This is what life means. No, it doesn't do all that annoying stuff that modern day movies do, where they need that necessity to.
You are about to experience the James Rambling Show, hosted by James Bay.
Hello, welcome back to the James Rambling Show for yet another episode. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk about Easter and a few more things. Like, I always like to do that. I always like to talk about more than one thing, because I'm not here talking about one thing only. It just doesn't make it feel as interesting, and I'll just tire myself out if I talk about the same thing over and over again. So there's that, but I've also got 2 reviews that are out. Go check them out. I'm not going to waste any more time on that, so I'm not going to spend so much time on Easter, because if you remember the Christmas episode and the Halloween episode, they felt like they were giant big deals where we spent a lot of time talking about those things. Here, though, there's not a lot to discuss because I don't know, Easter's a different story. Like, I do treat Easter like Christmas, where I don't celebrate it for the religious side of things, but it's not like that kind of time of year I'm like, oh my god, it's Easter time, I'm so excited. Like, I know the whole thing about Jesus Christ, I know the whole thing, I've heard that story a million times when Jesus Christ gets reincarnated or resurrected on Easter Sunday or whatever, in this cave or whatever it is. But I'm never like to myself, okay, Easter is the time of year, it's the time when I'm gonna go out there and be like, Easter is the amazing. So all I really do for Easter Sunday or whenever it is, well, not whenever it is, on Easter Sunday is, I just eat the Easter eggs, and at school I remember the times when we'd go and search for the Easter eggs, and the teachers would give you Easter eggs and all of that stuff. And then I do the same thing when I was a child, and my parents would go, we would place like Easter eggs around the house, and you'd have to go and find it, and then you give hints like, oh, this is where the Easter egg is, and this is where that Easter egg is. So what I'm trying to say is, there's not a lot to say in terms of Easter, but I thought I'd bring it up because it's as I'm recording this, it's April 8th, so it's April weekend, so I'm just gonna talk about it because it's relevant to the current year or month or whenever, right? So all of that stuff, right? Not the most interesting part of the episode, but it's like one of those topics where you just want to get out of the way, and so when you get it out of the way, you just feel better about yourself, if that makes any sense. So there's another thing that I want to talk about, like, I'll preface this by saying that last week I did kind of go back to talking about movies a lot. That's one thing I love doing on this show. But there was another movie that I seen this week, and we're not going to talk about like 3 or 4 movies or however. We're not going to go that insane this time. Going to dial back a bit, try and talk about some other different things. So recently, about 5, 6 days ago, right now, I didn't go to see, but I did watch the movie Cocaine Bear, which is a film that I did want to see because the trailer intrigued me so much. Like this idea of this bear that sniffs cocaine and goes on a rampage. So it's kind of an interesting little concept. And then like 5 or 6 days ago, I go watch it. Right, I watch it on my TV, on my Xbox, on this website, this pirating website, and right, cool. So I'll give you like a summary of the film and like what it's about and all that before we do my thoughts because yeah, let's get this out of the way, right? So Cocaine Bear's like solely based on this true story that a bear sniffed a bunch of cocaine and it was dropped in this forest by these like drug dealers who had all this cocaine or whatever in America. And so once all this cocaine was dropped down into that forest, it would then go on this rampage, and it's like Pablo Escobar and all this stuff. It's kind of interesting to see how the bear would do that stuff. And then the movie does that, takes that concept and runs with it, and it's about an hour and a half to an hour and 40 minutes. So it doesn't really waste so much time. It gets straight to the point and does what it needs to do. There's also like these characters like there's like the kids, and then there's there's like the drug lords, and there's like Ray Liotta's in the film. So you have all these kind of characters, and you see the perspective of the characters through the film, how they deal with the bear, and most of the time they deal with the bear in the same similar sense, right? Some of them live and some of them die. Some of them live and some of them die. Some of them live and some of them die. You get the point. So it just shows you like a simple like rotation of every character, what they're going through, how they are. And I remember hearing complaints about how the characters, like, they shouldn't have been as prominent as they should have been. It should have just been the bear. But I feel like if we just had the bear killing, no time to breathe, it wouldn't be as entertaining. Like, of course, we're going here for the bear, but we kind of need to mix it up a bit so we're not just giving you the same thing all the time. But so there's that. But I think the movie, right, the Cocaine Bear, it kind of surprised me how kind of much I enjoyed this film. Like, it's a simple concept and it's just so funny. It's just the jokes land right. They just joke and they try and have fun with the film. Right, the film, like you just like in the current day of cinema, we need to have these giant blockbuster CGI. Everything needs to be a certain way. Everything needs to be formulaic as hell. Everything needs to be set under this one continuous formula. You need to make it this way, this way, this way. This movie just throws all of that out of the window and just tells you, hey, remember when films were just here to entertain and have a good time and not be, oh my god, there's 9 million plots in this movie. There's 5 protagonists. There's this dude you need to follow, and then there's this guy. And oh, by the way, here's the meaning of life. This is what life means. No, it doesn't do all that annoying stuff that modern day movies do where they need that necessity to be like, you have to know about this giant, overarching, deep and philosophical thing. No, the film just rejects everything that even is, and it just runs with it. And it's amazing to see that, just to see that a movie can have fun with its own concepts instead of being like that. So I'd give the movie about an 8 out of 10 because it really does drive home the fact that not every movie needs to be so meaningful and so over the top and whatnot, but the movie is, it kind of is just, that is funny, and there's all these jokes about, like, there's also like Wikipedia, they throw that in there, like joking about how Wikipedia and all the bear facts, like it is a straight up horror parody and it realises how funny it is. And there is like seriousness and humour in the film, but I feel like the serious and the humour actually works here. Like there are the moments where you'll just kind of, and the serious moments do become kind of funny at the same time. Like when the bear, there's like times in the movie where the bear kills a certain person, and it just feels kind of hilarious how this came to be, like the way they kill it. And overall, man, yeah, Cocaine Bear is a great film. I do recommend it if you just want to have a fun time. If you don't want to be, if you want to be reminded of when movies actually just wanted to have a bunch of fun, didn't want you to overanalyze a plot and overanalyze who's in this movie and overanalyze everything in between, go watch Cocaine Bear. It came out like a month ago, but I recommend it because yeah, it's self-aware, realizes what it's doing. So there's all of that stuff. Right, I kind of went on a bit about Cocaine Bear, but I just thought I would talk about it because this movie, yeah, quite the fun ride. So another thing to talk about was today I went to the sauna, and that feels a bit random compared to what we've just talked about here. But I thought I would talk about this because I never really talk about the sauna. But this is like this is my first time going, and I did like the sauna. Right, I thought I wasn't gonna last as long as I did. Right. And for those who don't know, a sauna is like this hot room, and you kind of like sit on this bench, and it just, the room gets hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, if that makes sense. And it does that, and it's like, right, you just sit there, and and then there was times when I had to kind of go out of the room and jump in the cold plunger, which is this thing that makes you cool down. It's like a pool kind of thing. So you sit in that for a bit, and then you go back in, and it was like, and you start developing sweat on your body. It does a lot to your body, and it is, I guess you could say it's an exercise, but if you compare it to other exercises in the world, it's kind of not, as an, like like your heart, it makes your heart beat bump pretty fast. Like you feel this happening, and it's like you actually feel like you're doing something with your life. Like I know you're just sitting down, but it feels like you're doing something with your life. You're just, letting your body absorb it, something that you've never really done before. That this is the first time I've done it, so something I've never really done before, and it was nice to do it, to know the feeling, because my dad was raving on and on and on about it for like a whole year or so at this point. So it's good to know that this is actually good. And I had to be 18 to get into this place because, yeah, they don't want to take young kids in and have them all that. And there was a few people in there as well. There was actually this one guy who had a towel. Like, there's this thing in the sauna that you have to have a towel around you. But the guy was naked in the sauna, and it was kind of uncomfortable, really. But I wasn't, at first I wasn't really used to the experience, and then after a while I kind of got used to it. So I'm glad I tried out something I've never really done before. So the sauna experience, yeah, I liked the sauna. I very much did enjoy the sauna experience. So another thing I want to talk about, kind of different from the other stuff, is like recently I saw this video of the Prime Minister of New Zealand trying to define what a woman is, and he kind of fails at it. It's like this guy asks him, "What can you define what a woman is, please?" And he's like, "That's out of left field. That's out of left field. That's out of left field." And it's kind of crazy because I've talked about before, like how there's crazy things that go on in the world and all this PC culture stuff. But the fact that this guy couldn't define what a woman is, right? He's the Prime Minister of New Zealand. But the reason why he can't really define it is because he doesn't want to offend anyone. But it's just crazy, right? You should be allowed to define what a woman is, right? he's like, oh, a woman is anything you want it to be or whatever. But the basic definition of a woman is an adult female, right? That's what a woman is. It's an adult female, and and it was kind of annoying. It was kind of weird just to see that he couldn't define it. So there's all of that stuff. What else is that to talk about? Really, like, oh, right. There was also like all this stuff recently that happened, right? Like now, like it's getting crazy how I've talked about movies, right? But there's like this kind of crazy thing that's happened recently where there's now like 3 Star Wars movies. There's like, what else is there, man? There's like the Blue Beetle trailer. Oh man, there's quite a few things this week that happened in the world of entertainment, whatnot. But there was this other thing that happened, right? Okay, I've talked about this before, but recently we had another announcement of another Disney live action remake, and if you've been following the James Ramblin' Show before, you know that I kind of hate when this happens because it just shows that Disney is so uncreative that they would go out of their way to create the most uninspiring, uncreative things on planet Earth, right? I just talked about a movie called Cocaine Bear that tries to do something a bit different. I talked about The Whale, tries to do something a bit different, give us a bit more of a, doing this challenging topic that no one really brings up in movies that much now. But then you get this announcement that there is a Moana live action, and it's like, what the hell? They just keep going for this idea that if we make this live action remake, it's going to be amazing and it's going to do a lot of money at the box office, but it's just like, oh man, it's getting a bit tiring. Like, we get the point already. Like, you've done this enough times you've done this enough times that we know that this is just horrible and boring. So there's that, and I do want to talk about the Blue Beetle trailer because man, oh man, oh man, like this is kind of an interesting little thing we have here. Because I've talked about DC before, but I've never really talked about Blue Beetle, and I don't really know what this thing is. But I watched this trailer, and it looks like a Power Rangers thing. And then there's like this whole line about Batman is a fascist, and I don't really know the context behind it, so I don't know if that is a joke or it's a serious line. So there's all of that stuff. I don't know what else to say about the Blue Beetle trailer because yeah, man, there's not really enough about it really. I mean, there was also like an Indiana Jones 5 trailer. There was an Indiana Jones 5 trailer that came out recently. There was the Ahsoka TV show trailer. There's the Barbie trailer. Like, there is so many trailers right now. Like, it's kind of insane. So, there's a lot of trailers that are coming out, and we've got Easter. We've got all this stuff happening. Do I think I'm excited for any of the stuff that I've just talked about right here? Like, I don't know about the Star Wars movies, because I was never really I never really got into the sequel trilogy. Like, the sequel trilogy was something that people didn't really like, because of the direction and how they portrayed the certain characters and whatnot. And the writing wasn't great, but there's this movie that's like set 15 years after the events of the third film or whatever. I don't know if I'm excited for it. Like, I remember when, like, I talked about how I liked Star Wars before on the show, like, a while ago. But I tried to watch episode 8 and 9 a few years ago or whatever, and I couldn't even last 20 minutes, to be honest with you. So I can't really say that I'm excited for it, but I can't say that I'm very, like, I have hatred towards it either. Because I have liked some Star Wars stuff. Like, I did like Andor and all of that, but I don't think I'm like angry that they're doing this. But there will be people who were so burnt out from the sequel trilogy that they just don't want to see this happen, which is fair enough. So there's that, and I kind of said enough already about Indiana Jones 5, but I am just, even that second trailer, like, let's just talk about the second trailer of Indiana Jones 5 while we're at it, right? Right, there's like, it just expands it a bit more, and it's like, I'm retiring. I am retiring as Indiana Jones, Oh, this stuff, right? And then you get this whole line where there's like this female character, right? Who knows, right? If she replaces Indiana Jones and puts him in his place and whatnot, this is just going to be nostalgia bait trash, honestly. Like, it's going to be like, oh my god, Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones. Oh, wait a minute. There's this female character's going to replace him. And the movie it keeps trying to hit you with that theme song. Like, the trailer keeps trying to hit you with the theme song. Oh, remember this theme song. Look at the pretty the music. Right? But, like, there's this whole line about how like, I stole it and it's called capitalism. What the hell is that, man? Like, if we get dialogue like that, if we get nostalgia bait, if we get all this stuff in Indiana Jones 5, I'm gonna just. Oh, man. It's gonna make me rewatch those movies even more, just seeing that. So I've said that kind of thing, and. Yeah. Indiana Jones 5, I don't really have any faith that's even gonna be a great film at this point. I don't really know much about the Star Wars stuff. I don't really know much about any of all that other stuff. So other than that, really, this might be a bit of a shorterish episode. I tried my best to talk about kind of different stuff here, but I kind of went back to the same topics because it came up recently and it gave me something to talk about. So this kind of episode has had a bit of different stuff. Although I did actually have I do want to say that there was this funny thing that happened like this week, right? This pet one, like I'll tell you that I'm just going to end it off here with this story, and then we'll wrap it up. So, right, this friend of mine, he said, "Oh, you want me to try it? Want to try it some iced coffee?" Right, and I go with him to the dairy because that's where he got it from. I drink this iced coffee, and I never really talked about this before in the drinks episode because I think I got carried away. Never been the biggest fan of iced coffee, and then he gave me the iced coffee, and I had this like, like I was really drunk. I was like, well, with this iced coffee, I got really hyper during the day, and my friends noticed it and all of that stuff, and that kind of transpired. And I've not had any iced coffee since then, but knowing about that sauna experience, it's probably better off getting in there than drinking iced coffee again. So, other than that, really, right, this episode's been all over the place, right? I'm sorry if it has been, but we've had a few episodes like this before in the past. So, other than that, really, hope you enjoyed the episode. See you next week for another episode of the James Rambling Show. What will you do this Easter? Are you excited for all these Star Wars projects? Are you excited for any of the stuff I've just talked about? So yeah, see you next week for another episode. Bye.